Los Angeles is dealing with the biggest wildfire in the city's history.
Hundreds of residents are being forced to evacuate their homes.
California's governor has declared a state of emergency with several other large wildfires burning on the state's west coast.
The western U.S. is being hit by another type of natural disaster, wildfire.
The sheer numbers are staggering. 100 fires in total, around 80 of them considered large.
In 9 western states. Did you get that? 75 fires in 9.
Can you also talk about, last week saw virtually unprecedented floods across South Asia.
The Eagle Creek fire has charred some 30,000 acres in the heart of Oregon's scenic Columbia River Gorge.
Jennifer, it's hard to wrap your head around this. Again, really hard to find the words to describe this. We're talking about this luscious, pristine green gorge now turning orange and red, billowing black smoke.
It's like nothing I've ever, really ever seen.
I knew there was fires going on, but I didn't think it was going to be as bad as it is right now. I didn't realize the whole town was going to be shut down, which is kind of spooky.
That glowing smoke just rolling and billowing into the sky.
I haven't seen one this big. I've seen a lot of them, but I've not seen one this big.
And it really is even just hard to find the words to describe this. A true hell on earth, almost apocalyptic looking, the glow from those flames.
Altogether, the state's wildfires have scorched more than 1,000 square miles. That's about 1/3 of all the land burning across the United States.
Whether it's the floods down in Houston or Hurricane Irma that's threatening Florida, wildfires across the west, or extreme drought on the plains, we cannot deny that our climate is changing.
We're still struggling to fully comprehend its aftermath.
After one of the heaviest downpours in U.S. history, the storm is generating an amount of rain that would normally be seen only once in more than 1,000 years.
Mother Nature is angry. We've never seen the kind of damage, the biblical flooding.
But the number of natural disasters has nearly quadrupled since 1970.
Harvey hit Texas with Old Testament wrath, a deluge along the state's Gulf Coast.
First of all, we've never seen 2 Category 4 plus, that would be Harvey at 4 and Irma at 5, smote into the United States of America in 1 year.
So that's enough energy that it pulled the ocean out from the land.
And it was like that for almost half a day.
Dogs playing where it's normally feet deep.
This is normally entirely underwater.
This video from the Bahamas went viral, showing a normally sapphire sea gone as far as the eye can see.
This has been a once-in-a-lifetime tidal event.
The force of the approaching hurricane is so strong that despite all this ocean spray, it's actually sucked a lot of the water out of Sarasota
This was the headline in Barbuta's main newspaper today, Destruction Unreal. This was Barbuda before Irma hit, as you can see, just lovely. This is Barbuda today. The Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda says that Barbuda is now barely habitable.
And last year alone, 24.2 million people were displaced by sudden onset disasters, 3 times as many as by conflict and violence.
Hard as it is to believe, another hurricane is heading right toward Barbuda right now. Hurricane Jose. It's
another news this morning. Mexico has been dealt with a deadly 1-2 punch, with Hurricane Katia making landfall overnight as a Category 1 storm on the eastern Gulf Coast, 1 day after an 8.1 earthquake struck the country's southern Pacific.
Video shows how the earthquake caused violent shaking inside an office building. Mexico's president.
I've experienced many earthquakes, but nothing like this.
And just as the hurricane season gears up to batter the other side of the country, the strongest earthquake in modern history may just be the beginning of a very difficult end to 2017.
This is nature is unleashed. She's drawing all her energy, these hurricanes. 37 consecutive hours of 185 miles per hour. We've never seen anything like that.
Over the past 10 years, we've seen 100-year storms every few years. We've seen hurricanes repeatedly besiege the Gulf and East Coast. Historic droughts are becoming common, and water shortages are routine. Unprecedented disasters are becoming the new normal.
Our first glimpse of the blackened, still smoky crust the fire left on some land here in southern Alberta. The fire started with a lightning strike 2 weeks ago and has since exploded inside.
The yellow, otherworldly haze is because of several large wildfires that are burning in southern Canada and the northern Rockies.
The skies glow orange at night as the flames burn on. Families wake up to ash on their windshields.
Like a sunset almost. Evening light in the middle of the day. It was pretty strange.
It was kind of a unique surprise when we woke up today and the sky had this amber glow. Just made everything look a little bit surreal.
People in Oregon and Washington are reporting ash fall from the forest fires on a scale comparable to that what happened when Mount St. Helens erupted.
It's like being in hell, to tell you the truth. It's like being in hell. It's surreal. It seems like the province of British Columbia is burning up right now.
A ball of light shooting across the sky.
That bright light splashing across the sky in British Columbia rattled those who saw it.
But there are also reported sightings from Saskatchewan, as well as Washington, Idaho, and even as far as Montana.
An RCMP reported receiving dozens of calls from concerned individuals. Reports suggest it landed around 200 kilometers west of Calgary.
Whoa!
Era Paulitosa.
Well, the sun has unleashed its largest flare in over a decade, and its effects are now being felt here on Earth.
In recent weeks, we have seen the devastating effects of extreme weather on Earth. And these abnormal solar flares reveal that extreme weather is also happening in space. The sun has produced 6 sizable flares in the same region since Monday. Both flares were massive, but the second is the largest on record since 2000. The sun is currently heading toward a low activity period in its natural 11-year cycle, which makes these events all the more puzzling to scientists.
With science forecasting a dramatic rise in both the frequency and severity of disasters,
the more wicked these storms around America and planet Earth are going to become.
The picture's almost apocalyptic.
Nature is also taking a devastating toll elsewhere.
The pictures that are emerging from right across the region in Nepal and India and Bangladesh are absolutely devastating.
One country, Bangladesh, a third of Bangladesh is underwater.
The monsoon rains are becoming more intense, stronger and more devastating year upon year.
And from one weather extreme to another, in California, residents there are feeling the heat. This week alone, thousands of lightning bolts lit up the sky in the southern part of the state, sparking more fires.
More than 40,000 lightning bolts have flashed across the Southern California sky this week, all within a 24-hour period. The Golden State has been in the middle of a record-breaking heat wave, leaving climate scientists scratching their heads.
I've never seen it rain this hard at the beach. It's pouring.
And it's about to get way worse.
Oh, it's sheet. Oh, wow. Oh, look at that. Oh, my God.
crazy weather system, a quick-moving storm left quite the destruction as it rolled through Santa Barbara.
Oh, God! Others sought refuge in stores. Oh, my God! Just look at these terrifying images.
Things were literally just zooming by. Big shingles, fences, chairs, trash cans.
And yeah, it was quite a scene. I don't remember ever seeing a storm quite like that.
We're out boating on Lake Powell yesterday, got a nasty surprise as a microburst.
And the people who boat around there say they're used to keeping an eye out for changing conditions. What blew through yesterday, though, they said was way more violent than usual.
She said she's never seen anything like what happened there yesterday.
We're here every year and I've never seen a storm that bad.
She shot video on her phone as the microburst blew across the lake, throwing waves up against the houseboat she was on.
Of lightning in the Santa Clarita Valley. We got a number of videos from viewers showing the same sight in areas like Lancaster, Palmdale, and into the San Fernando Valley.
What is that? It's like a lightning. Whoa.
They all showed a massive cloud with lightning moving through. So many strikes inside that it almost looked like one of those lightning ball toys.
As I speak here, there are 1.5 million acres ablaze across Oregon, Washington, California, Idaho, Montana, Colorado, Wyoming, Nevada, and Utah. This year is virtually guaranteed to be the worst fire season in history.
In Montana, multiple wildfires scorched.
A different natural disaster that's ravaging the great state of Montana. In every corner of our state, Montana has felt the impacts of wildfires. In Montana, we're experiencing a historic drought.
A serious drought has swept southern Europe this summer. Some farmers in Italy and Spain are predicting the worst crop yields in 20 years.
In the Vatican, for the first time ever, they've already shut down the fountains in solidarity.
Including those in St. Peter's Square because of Italy's drought.
Flash flooding has swamped the Italian city of Livorno, killing at least 6 people after 400 millimeters of rain fell in just 4 hours. The mayor has accused the government of underestimating.
An out-of-control bushfire has forced the evacuation of staff from the Navy base at Jervis Bay.
As we go to air tonight, there are more than 120 fires burning, including one on the south coast at emergency level.
Temperature has dramatically plunged, but tonight fires are still burning. And now there's a new problem. Wild westerlies have grounded up to 100 flights at Sydney Airport.
The danger, of course, is the fact that all of this is happening and it's only mid-September.
North Korea's tests are a threat to international peace and stability.
It's a global threat and requires a global response.
across America, the clockwork of the cosmos turned day into night.
Frankly, I don't even think they give a damn about education, half of them. And I'm sure some maybe do. To use that word in this form? I will. Because people want to hear the truth, Frank. I watch you all the time. They want to hear the truth. Correct. Frank, we have to be able to express ourselves.
But referring to people as rapists, referring to John McCain, a war hero, 5.5 years as a POW, and you call him a dummy. Is that appropriate in running for president?
Okay, you got to let me speak, though, Frank, because you interrupt all the time, okay? So, no, I know him too well. That's the problem.
In the center of the stage tonight, businessman Donald Trump.
I would never give up my microphone. I thought that was disgusting. That showed such weakness. The way he was taken away by two young women. The microphone, they just took the whole place over. That will never happen with me. I don't know if I'll do the fighting myself or if other people will. But that was a disgrace. The way they took, I felt badly for him. But it showed that he's weak. You want to be what, vice president? Oh, now his question's no longer as good. He had great credibility until he said that. Now it's like, where did he come from?
We need a leader that wrote The Art of the Deal. I said trade deals. Who would do better? I'll tell you what, I know the greatest negotiators in the world. Some are horrible people, horrible human beings. Who cares? Some Wall Street guys, they're brutal, they're miserable. You wouldn't want to go out to dinner. They're terrible people. I love them. You know who's our primary representative right now? Carolyn Kennedy. You know how she got the job? 60 Minutes. She went to the White House. She said, I'd love to have a job. I have nothing to do. They said, how would you like to be the ambassador to Japan? She goes, really? You know why I say she's nice? Because my daughter Ivanka likes her. My daughter's so great. She's such a great person. My daughter likes her. She said, Daddy, she's such a nice person. I agree. I don't want a nice, I want to kill her. We're tired of the nice people. What do you need to spend $1 million? We just spent, it's a story today, $1 million on a soccer field. How do you spend $1 million doing a soccer field? You have a level piece of land. Throw them a ball, let them play soccer, if they have to play at all. See, you're not supposed to say that somebody graduated last or second to last in their class, because you're supposed to be, like Frank says, very nice. Folks, I want to make America great again. We want to get down to brass tacks. We don't want to listen to his stuff with being politically correct and everything has... We have a lot of work to do.
10 years ago, everybody wanted the wall. The Democrats, the Republicans, they couldn't get it. You know one of the reasons they couldn't get it? Environmental impact statements. Did you know that? There were toads. It's the most incredible thing.
NBC calls me, we'd like to see you. A couple of months ago, the head of NBC comes to see me. And the head of NBC's boss, I don't want to mention names because they're really good people. They're friends of mine, although I probably will never speak to them again either. First of all, Rand Paul shouldn't even be on this stage. He's number 11. He's got 1% in the polls. And how he got up here, there's far too many people. Anyway.
Would we not all be worried to have someone like that in charge of the nuclear arsenal?
Mr. Trump. I never attacked him on his look, and believe me, there's plenty of subject matter right there. That I can tell you. But
Jake, I want to give Mr. Trump.
It's a massive plant, one of the biggest in the world. They're going to make all these cars, trucks, and parts. They're even making parts. It's so big, they'll make the parts, the trucks. And I actually gave them a good idea. Why don't we just let the illegals drive the cars and trucks right in through the border? They don't have to even, it's true. No, I gave them that. Save a lot of money. That'll be next. No, they'll be doing that next. So the Mexican government is not happy with me, to put it mildly. And again, I respect Mexico, but their leaders are too smart for our leaders, because we have stupid leaders, okay? You mean it's not politically correct, and yet everybody uses it? So you know what? Give me a different term. Give me a different term. What else would you like to say? Oh, you want me to say that? Okay, no, I'll use the word anchor baby. Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. He would give a sermon you never wanted to leave. Sometimes we have sermons, and every once in a while we think about leaving a little early, right, even though we're Christian.
And pledge to not run an independent campaign against that person. Again, we're looking for you to raise your hand now Raise your hand now if you won't make that pledge tonight. Mr. Trump.
Who is Uma married to? One of the great sleazebags of our time. Anthony Weiner. Did you know that? She's married to Anthony Weiner. You know, the little bing, 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 bum, bum. I love you very much.
I'm a very militaristic person, but you have to know when to use the military. I'm the only person up here that fought against going into Iraq.
Can I make a response to that?
Just excuse me 1 second,
Can
Rand,
I make
if you
a
don't mind,
response to
Rand.
that?
You know, you are on less, you do have your 1%.
But have you ever asked God for forgiveness? I'm not sure I have. I just go and try and do a better job from there. I don't think so. I think if I do something wrong, I think I just try and make it right. I don't bring God into that picture. I don't. I could say absolutely, and everybody. I don't think in terms of that. I think in terms of let's go on and let's make it right.
Let's say that Jeb Bush or Hillary or one of these politicians all talk, no action, all controlled by lobbyists and special interests and donors. People like me from previous months, okay? Total control. Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing. You know what that is, right? We have heads being chopped off because they're Christian in the Middle East. We have borders where people are being killed all over. The world is cracking up, and they're worried about my tone. So what would President Trump do? So I don't have money. I don't have lobbyists. In fact, I've had, in the last 2 weeks, because I've hired many of the lobbyists. That's true. I hire lobbyists. They're great. They're terrific people. They can do whatever the hell you want them to do, okay? It's true.
Dave,
I was a businessman. I got along with Clinton. I got along with everybody. Yeah. That was my job, to get along with people.
But the simple fact is...
Excuse me. 1 second.
No.
I didn't want to...
Donald, you cannot take...
More energy tonight. I like that. Look.
I was asked the question.
I didn't want... It was my obligation as a businessman to my family, to my company, to my employees, to get along with all politicians. I got along with all of them, and I did a damn good job in doing it. Go ahead.
So...
And the poll just came out, and I'm tied with Jeb Bush. And I said, oh, that's too bad. How can I be tied with this guy? He's terrible. He's terrible. Hillary Clinton was the worst Secretary of State in the history of our country. The worst. Our enemies are a disaster. Our friends, and they hate us more. So Uma is getting classified secrets. She's married to Anthony Weiner, who's a perv. No, he is.
Somewhere there we'll find a balance tonight.
So I would have dinner with my kids almost always, and I'm always available to my children. I could be in the middle of the biggest, most important deal. For instance, if Ivanka called me right now and said, bye-bye, Frank, you're a wonderful guy. I think it's unlikely, but if Jeb became president, when they say, Mr. President, it's very bad that Ford's building in Mexico. Oh, okay. We'll do something. Let me go to sleep first. We'll do something. We need somebody that can take our jobs back, Frank, because we're going to hell. Our country's going to hell. And Frank doesn't like the word hell, but we're going to hell. I beat the people from China. I win against China. You can win against China if you're smart. But our people don't have a clue. We give state dinners to the heads of China. I say, why are you doing state dinners for them? They're ripping us left and right. Just take them to McDonald's and go back to the negotiating table. Seriously. Well, I heard Hugh Hewitt, a nice man, he apologized because he actually said that we had a misunderstanding, and he said today that Donald Trump is maybe the best interview there is anywhere that he's ever done. Now, unless he was just saying that on CNN to be nice, but he did say that.
Oh, you're the best interview in America.
And we had a legitimate misunderstanding in terms of his pronunciation of a word, but I would say just, well, I think it was. And he actually said that. Did you say that?
And so radio makes an interesting thing.
Okay, so I will say this, though. You was giving me name after name, Arab name, and there are few people anywhere that would have known those names. I think he was reading them off a sheet.
And Fox hasn't touched this. And I've been in touch with Kelly, too. And I've been in
go. Come on. Gotta go.
All right.
Gotta go.
There's
You're screwing up my whole speech, this guy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
There's counterfeit, substandard parts in most of the nuclear plants in the United States.
Counterfeit, substandard parts in nuclear plants in the United States. I'm not surprised to hear that. Why? Am I surprised?
And some of them have come from China. Now, when I brought...
And in airplanes, too, by the way.
When I brought this out, the NRC, Nuclear Regulatory Commission, accused me of...
And our weapons, we don't even know if they work. To show you how stupid we are, they did a major television program, 60 Minutes, I don't know if anybody saw it, where they go into the silos. The stuff is old, it's rotted, the phone systems don't work, the wires going to the phones are all, they don't even know if it works. And I said, if I were Obama, I wouldn't be showing that. And they got in there because Obama wanted people to see how bad it is so that maybe they could get some money to fix it up. How stupid is this? Our enemies are looking at this stuff with 44-year-old phones and wires that don't work. And the people, they're interviewing the people that are working these phone systems, and they're saying, no, you can't hear. You can't hear. And I'm saying, can you believe what we're doing? It's like in the war. They were saying, we're going in 2 weeks and we're going to be attacking a certain city. You know what I'm talking about. And we're going to attack, and this is the way we're doing it, and we're going here. And I'm saying, can you imagine the great General Douglas MacArthur or George Patton, any of these great guys, listening to a president say exactly what we're going to be doing? Then I said, you know, that's smart, because they'll do the opposite. They didn't. It was exactly as he said. First of all, these lenders aren't babies. These are total killers. These are not the nice, sweet little people that you think, okay? You know, I mean, you're living in a world of the make-believe, Chris. You want to know the truth. Right now we have Obama. He won't call. He doesn't even call to get our hostages back from Iran. Here we are in the middle of a deal, and he doesn't call about that. One sentence, I'd say, you got to, before we start, get those people back. Used to be 3, now it's 4. Get those people. They'd be back the next hour. You hear our politicians, John McCain, 2 days. Oh, Benghazi, you don't hear about it anymore. Hillary Clinton with the emails. Oh, the emails, 2 days. I'm more disappointed in the Republicans in many ways. They talk and talk and talk.
And I just got back from Chattanooga, too. And I spoke to some Marines there.
And guess what happens to Anthony Weiner? A month ago, I see he went to work for a public relations firm. Do you believe it? Now, if you think that Uma isn't telling Anthony, who she's probably desperately in love with, in all fairness to Anthony, because why else would she marry this guy? Can you believe it? Can't see straight. But if you would...
I got involved because I'm in the nursing home profession.
Okay, come on, you know, I got to go. Hey, come on.
Oh, wait a minute. No, let me finish this.
Okay. You know what? I think your question's great, and I can understand. He's talking about basically counterfeit parts, just to cut to the chase. We don't have to know that you're in the nursing home business. What, are you trying to talk to some of us about joining your little home? Come on, sit down. Enough. We think it's good. We think your point is good. Yeah, give it to him. Good. They said to Marco Rubio, are you having fun? He's sweating like a pig. I never saw a guy sweat like this. The sweat is pouring down. I think Rubio is a low energy, but here's the problem with Rubio. When you sweat that much, now think of it. So you have Putin, he's sitting over here. And he's waiting to kill the stupid Americans because he's been just destroying us so badly. So he figures, oh, and a guy walks in and he's soaking wet and sweating. Hello, hello, can I have some water? And Putin's sitting there, what the hell kind of stuff is this? This is not exactly a poker player, folks. John McCain goes, oh boy, Trump makes my life difficult. He had 15,000 crazies show up, crazies. He called them all crazy. I said, they weren't crazy. They were great Americans. These people, if you would have seen these people, I know what crazy is. I know all about crazies. These weren't crazy. So he insulted me, and he insulted everybody in that room. And I said, somebody should run against John McCain, who has been, you know, in my opinion, not so hot. And I supported him. I supported him for president. I raised $1 million for him. It's a lot of money. I supported him. He lost. He let us down. But, you know, he lost. So I never liked him as much after that, because I don't like losers. But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero. He's a war hero. He's a war hero. 5.5 years. He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Do you agree with that?
He's a war hero because he was captured.
Newsflash, the Republican Party's been fighting against a single-payer system for a decade. So I think you're on the wrong side of this if you're still arguing for a single-payer system.
I don't think you heard me. You're having a hard time tonight.
All right,
I know Anthony Weiner for a long time. I knew before they caught him with the bing, 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 right? And he was a bad guy then. It turned out that he was a really bad guy. So Rand Paul calls. He wants to play golf. I play golf. I kill him at golf. I did.
But when the folks of Iowa found out the true facts of the job that you've done in Wisconsin, all of a sudden you tubed. He was #1. Now he's number 6 or 7 in the poll. So Jeb Bush, let's say he's president. He knows it's no good. He'll have a little pressure. Don't let the plant be built. And he might even say, don't let the plant be built. Might even call the head of Ford. The plant's not going to be built. And then the next day, he'll be called by special interests that supported him, his lobbyists who push him around like a piece of candy. Jeb Bush will never take us to the promised land. He doesn't have it.
Did you ever see a sign that says Jeb Bush or Bush? Now, there's a reason he doesn't use his last name, because it's not going to work too well. Because we had a lot of problems with that last name.
And I think you can see I'm having a good time. I really am. You know, they said to Jeb Bush, he was like this. They said, are you having fun? Yes.
Our governor here in Massachusetts, Charlie Baker, has described some of your comments about women as reprehensible. Do you have a response to that?
No, he must have been talking about Jeb Bush. Because, frankly, Jeb Bush said he didn't want to fund women's health issues, and then he came back a few hours later and he said he misspoke. I think he must be talking about Jeb Bush. He's not talking about me. Jeb Bush said that on women's health issues that he won't fund him. Then he went out, he apologized. You okay? Jeb Bush said that on women's health issues, he won't fund them. Whose phone is that? You ready? Third time. Ready? Jeb Bush said that on women's health issues, he won't fund them. Then he said, oh, I misspoke. I'm so sorry.
There was no question because I heard when he said the statement. I was watching and he said the statement and I said, wow, I can't believe it. I will take care of women. I respect women. I will take care of women. You said you're going to cut funding for women's health issues. You said it. Yeah, except you said it.
I want to.
Jeb will be very poor as a president. No energy.
Okay, yes.
Jeb Bush a frequent target of yours, and what do you think
about...
Well,
I would say Jeb Bush is a frequent target because when this whole thing started, I thought he was going to be the primary competition, but he's drifted very much to the middle of the pack, and he's rapidly disappearing. So we're going to have to start looking at somebody else.
One of the things people love about you is you speak your mind, and you don't use a politician's filter. However, that is not without its downsides. You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't.
We have totally incompetent people. Now, some people say they're bad people. I don't think they're that smart to be bad people. I just think, honestly, I mean, a lot of people get angry when I say, I don't think they're bad. I think they're stupid. I think they're incompetent.
I think Hillary would be a terrible president. She was the worst Secretary of State in the history of our nation. Why would she be a good president? I think she'd be a terrible president. These politicians, they run and they run and they win, and sometimes they lose and they keep running. That's all they do is run. And then you have this guy, Lindsey Graham, a total lightweight. Here's a guy in the private sector, he couldn't get a job, believe me. They dunk people with a cage. Did you see that? They dunk them and drown them. These people make Saddam Hussein look like a choir boy. And then I watch this idiot Lindsey Graham on television today, and he calls me a jackass. He's a jackass. He actually probably seems to me not as bright, honestly, as Rick Perry. I think Rick Perry probably is smarter than Lindsey Graham, but what do I know? I'm at 38, I think, in South Carolina. He's at 3. He's a senator. They have 0. They have 1. They have 2. Why do they keep going? There's something I don't understand. If I was one of them, I would crawl quietly out. I'd probably tweet. I've decided to get out of the race. I wouldn't have a news conference. No, it's true. I'd tweet. I've decided I'm going to get out of the race. And then I'd sneak out to some place with my wife and I'd just go away. Okay, So now Bush goes in and he makes a mistake, and then Obama, frankly, might as well have stayed there, but okay. But he made a mistake too. And I said, keep the oil. Do you remember that? And everyone said, you can't keep the oil. It's a sovereign country. You can't keep the oil. I said, keep the oil. We're in there now. You blew it. You shouldn't have gone in. So here's who has it. Iran is taking it, and ISIS has it. And ISIS now is building a hotel in Iraq. They're competing with me. You believe it? They did the beheading. And then they've done other... And I said, you know, they're making a big mistake, ISIS. Because if they wouldn't have done that, and if they wouldn't keep doing it, we wouldn't have cared. We could have been gone. But you can't. Now, when you see what they're doing, you can't. Had they not done those things, the level of violence, we're like living in medieval times. You know, when you hear medieval times, you always think we're all civilized. It's a jungle. It's horrible out there.
They call me the ratings machine. So I have, you know, she gets out and she starts asking me all sorts of ridiculous questions. And, you know, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
And then I see Rick Perry the other day, and he's so, you know, he's doing very poorly in the polls. He put glasses on so people will think he's smart. And it just doesn't work. You know, people can see through the glasses. So he said he shouldn't be allowed on the debate stage. I said to myself, he shouldn't. And then I tweeted, you know, I have many millions between Facebook and Twitter. It's great. It's like owning a newspaper without the losses. It's incredible. Incredible. So I tweeted that Rick Perry should have to have an IQ test before getting on the debate stage. I mean, here's a guy goes on a bicycle to go on a bicycle race. He's 73 years old. He's in a bicycle race. He falls. He breaks his leg during the negotiation. And I tell everybody, and you probably heard it, I swear to you, I will never be in a bicycle race as long as I'm president.
To subject my wife into the middle of a raucous political conversation was completely inappropriate, and I hope you apologize for that, Donald.
Well, I have to tell you, I hear phenomenal things. I hear your wife is a lovely woman.
She is.
I
She's
don't
fantastic.
know her, and this
she
is a total
absolutely the love of my life, and she's right here, and why don't you apologize for her?
No, I won't
right
do that
now.
because I said nothing wrong, but I do hear she's a lovely woman.
I want to get paid the same as a man, and I think you understand that. So if you become president, will a woman make the same as a man, and do I get to choose what I do with my body?
You're going to make the same if you do as good a job. They spent, listen to this, $1 million on ads against me in Iowa. Now, here's the good news. They used the best pictures. I look so good in those pictures. I'm trying to find where they got them. Because they're stupid. But I was like a young guy. I looked so handsome. I said to myself, oh, I wish I still looked like that. It would be great. And his son came back from the deli, and he called the father. He used to call him Old Man. Old man, I'll be there in 3 minutes. Rubio, I've never seen a young guy sweat that much. No, I've never seen, he's drinking water. I never saw anything like this with him with the water. But, and everybody, Huckabee, nice guy. He was seriously hot. He was soaking wet. I grabbed him around his back. I said, good job. And it was soaking wet. I immediately...
It seems like this election has been a whole lot about a person who's very high in the polls, but doesn't have a clue about how to govern, a person who has been filled with scandals and who could not lead. And, of course, I'm talking about Hillary Clinton. I think America...
Thank you. It's been an amazing journey for me. It's been a lot of fun. I never thought I'd be a politician in my life. He said I'm not. Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm not. I refuse. I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. I tell you that. If I decide to run, you'll have the great pleasure of voting for the man that will easily go down as the greatest president in the history of the United States. Me, Donald John Trump. Part of the beauty of me is that I'm very rich.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't.
Rosie O'Donnell's disgusting. I mean, both inside and out. You take a look at her, she's a slob. She talks like a truck driver. We're all a little chubby, but Rosie's just worse than most of us. But it's not the chubbiness. Rosie is a very unattractive person, both inside and out. If I were running The View, I'd fire Rosie. I mean, I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. I'd say, Rosie, you're fired. But Mr. Trump, you're not a nice person.
We don't need nice.
That's true. But actually, I am. I think I am a nice person. I'm actually a nice person. I'm really rich. I'll show you that in a second. I like China. I just sold an apartment for $15 million to somebody from China. China. I've been saying China. 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 Smart. I'm really smart. I want to get rid of that house.
It's going to create a bit of a stir, but if we're not...
Who cares? Who cares? You know what? Who cares? We need a leader that wrote The Art of the Deal. Nobody would be tougher on ISIS than Donald Trump. Do you understand me? And I'm going to sue you if I have to. Do you understand me? Yes, I hung up. You didn't get disconnected. I hung up. I don't need anybody's money. It's nice. I'm really rich. $5 billion we spent on a website. I hire people. They do a website. It costs me $3.
Some business idea that I just want to tell you about, and I'll be a fool if...
Very quickly.
The performance could have been better.
Could have been better.
It could have been a hell of a lot better. But look, I'm not a guy who's going to run around blaming people.
That's
so I'm going
fine.
to take responsibility for that.
That's fine.
So if you want to fire me, go right ahead.
All right, Gene,
but I think
you're fired. I would build a great wall, and nobody builds walls better than me, believe me.
Hey, look at this! Donald Trump! Donald Trump! Donald Trump taking down Michigan! Oh, my God! The hostile takeover of Donald Trump!
Do you mind if I sit back a little bit? Because your breath is very bad. It really is. Has this ever been told to you before?
No.
Huh? Okay, then I won't bother.
Hey, Michael, let me ask you a question.
Sure, Mr. Trump.
He's knocking the hell out of Stephanie. He's telling me how bad Stephanie is, and you're interrupting him with nonsense over nothing. Why don't you let him knock Stephanie? He's not knocking you for a change. I mean, how stupid can you be?
Mr. Trump, I
Well, let me ask you this. He's knocking Stephanie, and you want him to stop knocking Stephanie. I'm starting to think that maybe you should be fired. What do you think about that?
Mr. Trump,
Why wouldn't you let him go? Let me ask you this, Michael. He's killing her. He's going after her. She should be fired, according to him. And you're trying to stop him from talking.
Because, Mr. Trump, I was...
Hey, look, you claim to be like me. The difference is I work hard. You've been lazy. You've been nothing but trouble. And now you cut them off as they're fighting each other for who should be fired. Michael,
yes.
Michael.
Yes, sir.
You're fired. What's the difference between a wet raccoon and Donald J. Trump's hair? A wet raccoon doesn't have $7 billion in the bank.
That's what I'm talking about. What do you think?
I mean, honestly, it happens to be 100% true. When you talk about George Bush, I mean, say what you want, the World Trade Center came down during his time. If you look
Hold
at
on,
Sandy Hook,
you can't blame George Bush for that.
he was president, okay? Don't blame him or don't blame him, but he was president. The World Trade Center came down during his reign.